Emily Brown is a defender with PWHL Seattle. Emily, thank you for taking the time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
You grew up in suburban Minnesota, and in high school, you were captain of the soccer team, captain of the track team, captain of the women's hockey team. Why do you think so many of your teammates saw leadership qualities in you?
Yeah, I think something I've always tried to do from a young age is really just try and lead by example, try and do the right things even when no one was watching. And I was lucky to be surrounded by a lot of good teammates back in my high school days. So I think that was a big part of why that might have been the case.
You stayed close to home, played 5 seasons at the University of Minnesota, and unsurprisingly, you were captain or co-captain for your last 2 seasons. There's no handbook on how to be a hockey captain. So, where did you learn it, and what was it like to be a hockey captain?
Yeah, I think I've been lucky enough along my sports journey and personal journey just to have a lot of good people to look up to, whether that's coaches, whether that's my parents or siblings, and really just picking up a lot of leadership qualities along the way. So I would really give a lot of credit to some of those mentors I had from a really young age, and whether those were captains or teammates that I had that were a bit older than me that I looked up to, or coaches or teachers, anyone in those positions. I've just had a lot of good role models during my journey.
My favorite statistic about you in college, during a road win at Ohio State in one game, you blocked 11 shots. Does that make you brave, a glutton for punishment, or both?
Probably a little bit of both there, but definitely something I've always tried to do in my career is keep pucks out of the net. And, that's what I take a lot of pride in. And so by any means necessary. And as you know, it's always said in the hockey world, a bruise goes away, but a goal doesn't. So try and throw the body in front of as many pucks as I can.
That is a wonderful saying. It's not true, but it's a wonderful saying.
Right.
Um, Equally impressive, you were an all conference scholar athlete, got a degree in mechanical engineering. What is that, by the way?
This is such a fun question that people ask more often than you would think, and it is so tough for me to answer because I'm like, what even is an engineer? But really, mechanical engineering to me, at least, is the design and innovation of many different things. I mean, mechanical engineering is such a broad degree, which is why I pursued it. You can work on anything from cars to windows to medical devices and anything in between. So a lot you can do with it, and I'm sure there will be a day when I decide what I want to do with it there.
So, by playing pro hockey, Emily, you are depriving the world for at least a few years of a brilliant engineer.
Yeah, just for a few years at least, but I like to think that there's still some stuff that I'm able to contribute using hockey, and I know that day will come when I'm in a lab or in an office somewhere using that part of my brain as well.
So, you're smart enough to be a scholar athlete, but not smart enough to get out of the way of hockey pucks.
Hey, some depends on your definition of smart. Some people would say that's a pretty smart call there.
You go pro 1 year with the Professional Women's Hockey Players Association. And Emily, I want to dive into this because as important as those past pro women's leagues were, I
Mhm.
don't think people realize how different they must have felt compared with your last 2 seasons with Boston in the PWHL. Can you describe your mindset and the mindset of fellow players in the PWHPA versus the PWHL?
Yeah, I think having that 1 year experience prior to the league being formed was really a unique opportunity and really helped me understand how much work some of the players that came before me in my time have put into creating what is now the PWHL. I think When I was coming out of college and deciding what I wanted to do, I just really leaned on those people that kind of came before me in the Minnesota hockey world: Lee Steckline, Kelly Panic, Hannah Brandt, and they were really good mentors, and telling me that this is for the bigger picture. Like, there is we're fighting for a sustainable professional women's hockey league where we're paid and treated as we deserve as professional athletes. And so I didn't really know a lot about the landscape of women's hockey. I was kind of in the college bubble, but kind of got thrown into it that year after, and really just understood the discrepancies between where we were in the current league and where we were wanting to go what is now the PWHL. So I was really grateful for that 1 year, and even more grateful that we now have what we have in the PWHL.
You've described yourself on the ice as a Spitfire. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I like to, just bring energy to the team in whatever way that I can, whether that's, playing a little bit with a chip on my shoulder, playing physical, and, making it hard for the other team, or firing up my teammates in any way that I can. So sometimes that definition varies day to day, but no matter what, just trying to provide a spark to my team in whatever way it is that day.
Another description of you comes from Tessa Bonham, half of the Jocks and Jills podcast. And she said about you, quote, "Brown is physical to say the least, as you mentioned, defensively focused. If your top line is out there and you need somebody to run them into the ground, tire them out, eat up minutes, Brown has the skill set to do that." Does that sound like you?
Yeah, I like to think so. I mean, that's really what I take a lot of pride in is the nitty gritty details that might not show up on a score sheet every day, but make a difference in the overall game. And if that's shutting down the other team's top line, that's something that I'll take a lot of pride in, and that's the role I'll take on and really enjoy doing. So yeah, I like to stay on the defensive side of the puck. And like we mentioned earlier, if that means blocking some shots, that means blocking some shots. So yeah, whatever it takes.
Tessa's podcast partner, Julia Tasheri, said, somewhat tongue-in-cheek, Brown may be the most famous player in the PWHL. That's because back in January, when you played in the Takeover Tour game for Boston against Montreal at Climate Pledge Arena and took a penalty, Seattle Storm WNBA legend Sue Bird put you on her Instagram story. We're looking at that screen grab now. When did you know that post had gone viral?
Yeah, that's a funny story. So I was, obviously we had played the game, and it was an exciting one in front of a really great crowd, and obviously went into a shootout against Montreal. So it was just an overall great game. And I remember being in the hotel after the game, in the athletic training room, just getting some things done, and maintenance and whatnot. And I remember scrolling through. I knew that Sue Bird and Megan Rapinoe were obviously there, and scrolling through Sue Bird's story, and all of a sudden I'm kind of tapping through because there was a few stories on there, and I tap through and I look and I'm like, oh my God, like that's me. And Hillary Knight was in the training room with me as well. And I just go, oh my God, you guys, like, look, like Sue Bird, like, called me a bad girl. And it was obviously just took off from there. And obviously, whatever. But yeah, it was a crazy realization, and probably definitely something that sticks out to me from the past year for sure.
And my favorite part of this story is how you leaned into it with your Fleet teammates. What is the story behind the t-shirts?
Right. So another good one. So that was obviously, it had been going around our group chat, and everyone, kind of took off with the nicknames and whatnot. And then we had another Takeover Tour game, and it came out that Hillary Knight was, our captain, and obviously a great leader, a great teammate, and, just iconic as she is, was like, hey, I'm having these T-shirts made with the screenshot of you in the penalty box and saying "bad girl." We're all gonna wear them into that game, and that's really the origin story of how those T-shirts got made. And it's got to give credit to Hillary Knight there for that idea.
Well, let's set the record straight. Are you a bad girl?
Again, I would have to say it depends on your definition, but always willing to do what it takes and toss the body around out there.
We'll finish with this. A bio of you I read said that you were a fan of the board game Monopoly. Is that still true? And if so, because I know you're smart, what is your winning Monopoly strategy?
Ooh, great question. I love this one. Monopoly, yes, I do love a game of Monopoly. I will admit, because I have a feeling that my sister or my grandparents might listen to this, I am a very sore Monopoly loser. So I do enjoy the game, but I like when I'm on the winning side of it. And as far as my winning strategy, I'm afraid that I can't fully give it away, but I think you got to build property fast. I would say that.
The game Monopoly was created by a woman, by the way.
Really? Let's go.
It wasn't actually Monopoly then. She created another game and Parker Brothers stole it from her.
Oh, okay. Well, fun fact, the more you know.
Yeah. Well, and now I can say there's one thing I knew that I was able to tell Emily Brown. That'll probably be the only thing.
No, not that, but definitely learn something every day, and this is it today.
Emily, thank you so much for your time, and I look forward as the season gets started, having more conversations and maybe getting more of that secret Monopoly strategy out of you.
Absolutely. It was awesome talking to you today. Thank you.
Thank you.